When I think of Ireland, I think of my family. I was born in South Africa, but my father's Northern Irish and my mother's Welsh, so I've got very deep ties to the United Kingdom. But when I think of the UK, I always think of Northern Ireland, I think of Carrickfergus, I think of my family.
Video games have been very much involved with him and his wee brother for ever since I can remember. My
parents had bought my brother and I one of these old like Atari kind of 2600 knockoff things. And I distinctly remember playing a game, and while I was playing, my brother's kicking me in the back, and I just did not stop. So when I was a teenager, my brother was my second in command. We played everything together.
That was still when my nickname was Death Wish, because he was always better than me, so playing against him was like having a Death Wish.
When I had my own gaming team, we had a secondary team that we practiced against, and my brother was the captain of that.
It wasn't even esports then, it was, online gaming and clans and clubs.
My brother's also the reason I play League of Legends. I got a bit burned out playing Call of Duty 4, played for about 5.5, 6 years. And when I stopped playing and I was moving around and I was leaving South Africa to come to the UK and look for work in Europe, my brother said, you should try this game called LOL. And I literally laughed at him. I said, anything that is called LOL has to be dumb. It took him about 5 months to convince me to try the game. And in early 2010, I started playing and I got instantly hooked.
He sort of got interested enough in League close to the time of the Season 1 World Finals.
Oh Fnatic going to win the Season 1 championship if they can hold on. This Nexus will go down.
I was working in Berlin as a community manager and a player support. But in all my lunch breaks, I'd watch League streams and I'd stay later to play League. And my manager actually told me off and said, why didn't you make that your job? And in exploring the idea, decided to give shoutcasting a try in 2012.
So when I first saw Trevor, he was actually streaming a Go 4 Cup, I think it was.
You're going to be following C-Play facing off against Logix.
And he did this marathon run of 9-hour show, constantly casting, all on his own, which in itself I knew was hard.
I didn't tell people my name. I was just like, I'm that South African guy. I know every spell name, which at the time was a big deal. At the time, nobody was using spell names in their shoutcasting. Warwick's going to come in here. He's going to use Hungering Strike, auto attack, infinite duration to secure the kill. I noticed all of the big premier shoutcasters just said the Q connected, or that was a good R. The ultimate was amazing. And I just thought, hey, I can make myself stand out a little if I do it a little differently.
We all suddenly had to go, oh, hang on a minute. If this guy's using all the spell names, we kind of need to start using all the spell names. So it was a real pain in the butt, actually, to suddenly have to start learning them all.
D-Man and Panky were meant to cast the monthly final of a 4PL event, but it conflicted with a LAN that they were going to in London. So 4PL said to D-Man, if you're not going to cast this, who can? Completely unbeknownst to me, he said, why don't you talk to this guy Quickshot? 4PL reached out to me and they said, we'll give you a couple $100 if you can cast this whole tournament and stream and produce it, and there you go, here's some graphics. This particular Sunday night, Moscow 5 were playing and they lost to a random unknown solo queue team. There is nothing that Moscow 5 can do about this. And luckily that thread made it on Reddit, people were talking about it, and it was my voice and it was me shoutcasting, and that was my really big break. I joined the company on January the 7th in 2013. We were going to go to the qualifiers in Warsaw, where the games took place in a cinema. And if I did well there, shoutcasting with Riv, with Freak, with Joe, with D-Man, then potentially I could join the LCS team. My name is Quickshot, of course. I'm sitting in the hot seat. Freak, how you doing?
I'm doing quite awesomely.
Warsaw was terrifying. Freak was the voice of League of Legends. He did all of the video content. And I had to work with him, and I had to be his colleague and kind of operate in the same levels. And I just felt so overshadowed, and I just felt so out of my depth. My inner fanboy was losing it. Yeah, I mean, when I joined the LCS crew, I remember actually saying very upfront, I am a play-by-play caster, this is what I should be doing. But there's no ways I was gonna get that spot when Joe and D-Man were there. It was a challenge, it was tough. I think my shoutcasting style is a little polarizing. And I think there's a lot of people that like and dislike the work that I do. And in that position, there was some justified backlash, but it's part of the job. There's no such thing as a perfect cast. It's not a science, it's an art form. When the studio moved to Berlin, Joe and Lee decided not to move with the show. And it was a major, major loss. I was transitioning from colorcaster to play-by-play, which is something that I'd wanted to do for a while. It was tough and it was scary because not only did I have a limited amount of experience in a solo play-by-play role, the colorcaster that was alongside me, Deficio, had only worked 2 splits on the show as a caster himself, and we were losing Joe and D-Man, and it was terrifying. I thought I was going to be enemy number 1 because I didn't think that I could fill issues.
I, for one, cannot believe it that I'm on this side of the desk.
And we're like, okay, we're gonna cast every game, people are gonna hate it, we don't know what to do, and we're like, we gotta just try and be ourselves and kind of just have fun on air, but at the same time try and really like hype up each other. So because it was just us in the start and we were like, we have to do something, we need to be good enough casters for people to want to watch.
I felt pressure and opportunity. It also allowed Deficio and I to develop a friendship and a caster synergy that I think is one of my favorites in Europe.
Lots of love. They have to go for it. Trevor, kiss me.
I never feel nervous when I have to cast a game with Trevor. Being it a world final or being it like, you know, a Challenger Series game, it doesn't matter. You just know you can go in, you can be yourself, and it's gonna be fun.
I wanted to deliver the best hype, the most energetic, in the most fun way, right? I just want to hit a 10 energy level out of 10 every single time.
What a lot of people take as fake enthusiasm is wrong. He's actually very enthusiastic as a person about the commentating, about the games in general. That's not fake, that is Trevor. Trevor absolutely loves what he does.
With the work I do both on screen and off screen, there's a level of trust and a level of faith from the production team to actually say, we need a body there, we need somebody who can do this role. Who can do it? A lot of the times I've got my hand in the air yelling, pick me, pick me, pick me, and I've been given the opportunity to actually do it. And the versatility is good because from a production standpoint and from an off-broadcast standpoint, there are a lot of people who sort of depend on, hey, we know Trevor will get that done. We know Trevor will deliver something that we're happy for. And that is great, the value that your team members actually can see and can place on you gives you a sense of accomplishment.
He absolutely eats, sleeps and loves Riot Games, loves the LCS, loves shoutcasting. So I think when you see somebody that's really passionate about their job and love their job as much as what he does, that's what gives you that sense of pride and fulfillment as a parent.